Have you outgrown your own story? Are you sick of hearing yourself talk about your life in certain ways or repetitive ways? At some point, for example, I got really sick of hearing myself say, "I'm so busy," or "I'm too busy." Once I got to that point of being sick of hearing myself say that I'm so busy all the time, I realized that something had to change. I realized that I had to change. Not my workplace or my colleagues, not my partner or my child, not my friend or my city or anything else. Me. If even you yourself are sick of hearing your usual story, whatever that may be, I think it means you're ready. Your midlife plot twist is waiting. And in today's episode, we'll be exploring the midlife plot twist not as a moment of reinvention, but of reclamation. What if the plot twist isn't about starting over and becoming someone new or reinventing yourself, but remembering and reclaiming the parts of you that have been buried? You're listening to the Midlife Plot Twist podcast, and this is episode 19. Happy Monday, everyone. I hope you're doing well and that you were able to enjoy this past weekend. I also hope that you have some time to reflect over the course of this coming week. Reflect on where you're at in life, what you want, and allow yourself to dream a bit. You might have noticed that I changed the intro to the podcast a bit, and that's because today I'm talking about the midlife plot twist Redefined. And I wanted to add a bit to the usual layout of the episodes. So here we go. When I started this show, I thought it was going to revolve mostly around leaving my career. That was the headline. That was the major plot twist. But over the past few weeks, something has shifted, and I realized that this isn't just a story about walking away from a job. It's about reclaiming myself, and I'd like to talk about it with you. What do I mean by reclamation? Well, to start, I want to contrast it with the idea of reinvention. Midlife reinvention was going to be the topic for today's episode at first. But as women in midlife, we're exposed to countless messages about reinvention, starting over, pivoting, becoming someone new. And the more that I sat with this message, I realized that reinvention doesn't quite fit what I'm going through right now. Instead, I like the word reclamation. It feels different and like a better fit. Reclamation suggests that I was always here. It suggests that parts of me got buried under achievement, responsibility, expectations, and survival, and now I'm uncovering them and am going to make good use of these buried parts. I'm not creating someone new. I am remembering something wild, something old, and deeply meaningful within myself that hasn't had a chance to be developed or explored yet. I'm remembering who I am. And this feels much truer than reinvention. Reclamation has a few meanings, but the one I'm most interested in for our purposes today is the act of getting something back after it has been lost, taken away, etc. It's the noun form of the verb to reclaim, which refers to the act of retrieving or recovering something previously lost, given, or paid, to obtain the return of something. When I look back at the episodes I've recorded since October, I can see it clearly. I thought I was going to be documenting my career exit and starting over by going back to school. But what I've actually been doing with these episodes is reflecting on identity, on aging, on grief, ambition, exhaustion, and on purpose. the focus of my podcast broadened without me announcing or even actually noticing it. And I think that's because the real midlife plot twist here was never the job. The real plot twist has to do with awareness. Midlife is changing me. My awareness and experiences up to this point with both life and death are widening my field of vision and causing me to ask harder questions of myself. Particularly, is this how I want to spend the last years of my life? Is this what I want to do with the last years of my life? Now, this sounds like I'm going to die soon. Hopefully, that's not the case, obviously. But I just mean whether it's 1 year or 40 or 50 years that I'm alive, is this what I want and need? So, what am I reclaiming? Well, over the years, I've had many passing thoughts to full-on fantasies about being a best-selling author and a therapist. My goal for both of these was to help and inspire other people, to help others know that they're not alone, that there is hope, and that there is at least one other person out there, me, who has had similar thoughts, feelings, and experiences. I'm reclaiming this part of myself, this helping and heart-based part of myself that I'm reclaiming got really badly bruised and silenced throughout my education and career as a professor. I'm also reclaiming and exploring aspects of myself that I associate with my neurodivergence, such as needing more time in solitude than the average person, it seems. I've pushed myself my whole life to be more outgoing, more talkative, and busy in the world. And I'm exhausted. And I'm done. I'm done. So, anyways, these are two examples that come to mind. All of this is bigger than leaving a job. Returning to school to retrain in something new is just one expression of what's going on here in my life. Reclamation is the deeper movement of what's happening here, and it is so empowering and exciting. Here we are then, in midlife, and I am advocating for reclamation rather than reinvention, remembering rather than recreating. I don't think midlife is or has to be a time of crisis. It might be the moment when your body or your mind says, this life doesn't fit the way it used to. To reclaim things, we have to get to know ourselves deeply, and that, again, is, to me, anyway, so very exciting. So the Midlife Plot Twist podcast is still very much about change, but it's not just about career change in midlife and the associated feeling of starting over. It's about having authorship over our own plot twists. I recognized that the life I built needed revision, and that wasn't because I thought it failed, but because I evolved, grew, healed some things, and got to hear my own voice for the first time in my life. The Midlife Plot Twist, then, is about making very deliberate choices for the second half of life. I'm going to wrap this episode up by asking you a question. If midlife is a time for reclamation, then the question we should be asking ourselves isn't, what do I need to become? Or who do I need to become? The question is, what do I need to take back? My time, my voice, my health, my direction, my curiosity, my boundaries, my dreams? So, if, as I asked in the beginning of this episode, you've outgrown your own story, what are you ready to take back for yourself today? Okay, that's it for today's short episode. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, please follow the show on whatever platform you're using to listen to these podcasts, whether it's Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Podbean or whatever it is. Also, come and find me on Instagram. The account is at Midlife Plot Twist Podcast. And if you would like to, like no pressure, but I'd love it if you would reach out. My email is midlifeplottwistpodcast@gmail.com. I wish you a week of finding rest and fulfillment and knowing that you're worth soaking up every moment of it. Until next week, be well.